Hello, welcome to the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. This is for June 25th, 2024, episode 209 of my daily PaulCast. Stand-up comedian and improviser, documenting my journey as I pursue my dreams, everybody. And I am still in Las Vegas, Nevada, and will be heading back home to Phoenix today, actually. So yesterday was not a super eventful day because I just ended up getting a pretty bad headache and needed a lot of rest, which I know is incredibly boring for a podcast about getting out there and going after your dreams. Which I am still doing. I did make it out to an open mic at the Wise Guys. These Wise Guys. There's actually two Wise Guys in Las Vegas, and they have a open mic. And so I went to that. The sign up. Well, it was a lottery mic, which means you put your name in a bucket, and then they draw out all of the names, and then they generate a list from that. And what's interesting about this club is they go until everybody who submitted their name goes up and does stand-up. They give everybody 3 minutes, and it still is a very long night. So I showed up at 6:30, put my name in the bucket, and then sat in the club and just did a little bit of writing while I was waiting for the open mic to start, which actually started at 7:30. And then I sat there, and my name was not called until about 9:45. So I was there at 6:30. So I waited almost 3 hours and 15 minutes before I got called on stage to do 3 minutes of stand-up. And by then, the show had been going. So the show officially started at 7:30. It was kind of weird because they said you have to show up by 6:30 to put your name in the bucket. But the show doesn't start till 7:30. But it's like, well, I didn't really have anywhere else to go. So then they started the show. What was cool is there actually was a bit of an audience there, which was a little surprising. There was maybe 15 or 20 people who, from what I could tell, were not comics that actually just came out. I guess they just love seeing dozens of amateur comics do 3 minutes of comedy. It was really surprising to me that there were civilians there. But yeah, by the time I got up, though, the show had been going on for over 2 hours. And obviously, at an open mic, you're going to see a lot of really bad comedy. And the energy was just sucked out of the room. When they called my name, the audience was so dead, like people weren't even clapping anymore. It's like they had just been completely drained of enthusiasm and excitement for comedy. So I went up, I did my best to sort of inject some energy into the audience. I did a couple of opening jokes, which I have sort of resurrected. I used to do these jokes all the time, and then I took them out of my act, and I recently just added them back in because they almost always get laughs. And I opened with those, and it was an interesting thing because I was looking at the audience's faces, and they were smiling, but it was just like they just did not have it in them anymore to laugh. Like there was just not enough energy left in the room to elicit actual laughter. So I just sort of knew that was going to be the case. I mean, I'm going on I tried to do the math on this. So 3 minutes. So every comic got 3 minutes. The show started at about 7:30. The host did some time. I would assume probably the first comic got on stage at about 7:40. So you figure 20 minutes left of the 7 o'clock hour. So 20 divided by 3, we'll just call it 7. So there was probably 7 comics that went up by 8 o'clock. And then by 8 o'clock, what's 3 divided by 60? So that's 20. So then that's another 27 comics. And then, let's see, I got up about 9:45. 45 divided by 3, what's that? Getting close to 12, 13, 14, 15? Yeah, 15 comics. So what did I say? So 27 plus 15. Is my math right on that? I said 20 plus 7 plus another 15 comics. So that would be 42 comedians, give or take a few. So they had seen 42 comics by the time I took the stage. And even still, I actually had a lot of fun. I just sort of went into this space to where I went, okay, this audience is probably not really going to have enough energy or enthusiasm for anything at this point. So I need to just sort of detach from the expectation that I'm actually going to hear any laughs. And I mean, I did hear a couple chuckles, but again, I could just tell that when I was looking at the audience, especially there were people in the front row, that they had like big smiles on their face. Like they seemed excited and happy, but again, just wasn't really going to be a laughable experience for anybody. So I did my 3 minutes, and then I just left and I went to go see a movie. I was pretty kind of like over it by that point. One of the comics had invited me to another open mic that was happening at midnight. And I was just like, my gosh, I do not have enough energy to go sit through another open mic at midnight. I need to relax. And there was a movie that I wanted to go see, the new Bike Riders movie, which, by the way, when I was in Hollywood last week, me and my buddy Jim were walking down Hollywood Boulevard, and we happened to see the premiere red carpet event in Hollywood with good old, what's his heartthrob, Austin Butler, I think is his name, all walking the red carpet, so that was pretty cool. So I went to go see the Bike Riders movie. Not gonna lie, didn't care for it much. So anyway, so not a whole lot happened on this Vegas trip. It was, I got to hang out with some veteran comics, which was cool, and then I got an open mic, which was not I didn't get a great spot, so it ended up not being like super great, but it was also an opportunity for me to really just settle in and go, I'm just going to go up and I'm going to do this routine and I am going to deliver it as though it is funny because I know it is funny, and try my best to really detach from whether or not the audience is laughing at it. And if they aren't going to laugh, they aren't going to laugh, and just sort of let that happen. And that's what I did. And I did a newer routine. And the funny thing is, I did this exact same routine at an open mic on Sunday. And I had like this 7 or 8 people in the open mic there, absolutely rolling on the floor, laughing. And it's just so fascinating that in that open mic scenario, and open mics are always going to be challenging. There's always a few cards stacked against you. But in that open mic, it went so well. And then just 2 nights later, different circumstance, different audience, different everything. I did almost the exact same routine and can't get anybody to actually really laugh. I just sort of got them to smile, at least smile and enjoy themselves. So very interesting, this comedy game that I am in, and just trying to navigate all of the different circumstances and stages and audiences that a comedian might find themselves in at any given moment, on any given night, and that's just all part of the journey. So that will be wrapping up my Vegas trip. I'll be heading back to Arizona, and I've got a show tonight, which should be a fun little independent show that my buddy Andre, who runs my open mic with me, is going to be hosting. And then tomorrow is my birthday show. So I will be celebrating my birthday with a comedy show, although my birthday is actually on Friday. So, just out there, still hustling, grinding, trying to refine this material, trying to expand my network, being able to network in different entertainment hubs like Vegas and Hollywood and all of that fun stuff. But overall, everything is good. And, it was kind of cool about that open mic is I'm finding that I'm getting, less discouraged and disappointed in those types of situations where maybe I have an expectation that it's going to go better than it did. And I just kind of didn't really let it get to me. I just went, nope, actually they're wrong and I'm right and I was funny. And them not laughing actually was not my problem, which is not normally how I react. Normally, if an audience doesn't laugh, I go into a deep depression and want to quit comedy immediately. And trust me, I have had those experiences plenty of times, but not tonight. Not tonight. I just went, all right, onward and upward, on to the next show. So I think that might be a sign of some growth for me. So anyway, overall, fun little trip up to Vegas, and we'll look forward to getting back to Phoenix. So that is the update. I think I'm going to cut this one a little short, and I thank all of you for listening. I hope your dreams are all going well and that you are finding joy and fulfillment and cool opportunities and experiences on your journey. So this is the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast for June 25th, 2024, episode 209. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you tomorrow.